but I can weld pretty good. I mean, I can go down with the guys and weld if I needed to. And, you know, it was like just something that came along with what I was doing, you know.
West Coast Customs captured audiences' hearts with its extraordinary builds and unique customizations that redefined automotive culture. But behind those roaring engines and high-profile clients, many of the cast members passed away with chilling secrets and tragic fates you may never have imagined. Think no more. Brace up and let's go on a ride as we reveal the mysteries surrounding West Coast Customs members that will leave you speechless. Ish Jimenez. Ish Jimenez was one of the earliest stars of West Coast Customs. Known for his steady hands and calm personality, he turned simple interiors into one-of-a-kind art. But Ish's story didn't start with fame. Instead, it started with pressure. Born on March 14, 1975 in Los Angeles, California. At first, he joined the gangs in local streets, but eventually he started to work in his uncle's auto upholstery shop. By his early 20s, he opened his own makeshift shop. However, due to legal troubles, he was forced to end it too soon. Meanwhile, in the early 2000s, West Coast Customs was widely popular for their custom builds for celebrity clients. By the time he appeared on the show, he already built a reputation for himself. While the shop combined wild paint jobs with crazy ideas, Ish made sure each build stayed grounded. His attention to detail is what made him stand out from the rest. Then in 2021, fans noticed something. Ish began appearing less frequently. With constant deadlines to meet and grueling work behind the scenes, eventually he made the difficult decision of leaving the show. Fans missed him and began to realize that he was the one who made West Coast Customs feel special. Ish was Ryan's most trusted team member not because he could pull off a tricky design, but because he understood the customer's needs and made every build feel special. Even now, when fans talk about the early days of West Coast Customs, Ish's name always comes up first. But while Ish found a new rhythm to life, another West Coast Customs favorite had his own reasons for pulling back. Big Dane. From the very first season, Big Dane was more than just a team member. He carved out a unique role at West Coast Customs. While Ryan was chasing big dreams, Dane was the one who kept things on schedule. He focused on protecting his bond with Ryan, so he tried to do everything he could for the show. But that relentless effort left Dane in trouble. He was always chasing the edge and trying to solve problems even before they happened. Whenever there was conflict between the crew, Dane stepped up with his commanding presence. In the shop, the profit mattered, of course. But even more than that, it was about dealing with tough customers and often monitoring every member of the team. He didn't just work hard. Instead, he stayed true to his decisions. And that's what made him truly special. However, at West Coast Customs, things were completely different. With a fixed budget for each build and new projects rolling in each day, Dane's motive didn't align with the rest of the members. This led to frequent disputes between the cast regarding creative control and attention to detail. However, as the seasons went on, fans noticed something. Dane began appearing less frequently. He began shifting his focus away from the custom builds and towards family. Behind the scenes, Dane had been dealing with personal health concerns. After just 3 seasons, Dane quietly stepped away from the show and chose to follow his own path. But it didn't stop there. In 2018, Dane suffered a serious stroke in the middle of the night. The stroke affected his speech and coordination and required emergency care, followed by weeks of physical rehabilitation. Some fans missed the tension he brought to the screen. Others found a new respect for the man behind the persona. Dane's story is about transformation, a reminder that even the fiercest voices sometimes go quiet. But what about the man who's been at the center of the show from the very beginning? Ryan Friedlinghaus. Ryan Friedlinghaus was the face of West Coast Customs, known for his sharp vision and a huge love for cars. Like any process in the shop, Ryan's dream life started from scratch. He wasn't just talking about cars, he actually lived a life around them. Ryan made West Coast Customs famous, but it wasn't just about fame. It was his true love for every part of the process. But behind his incredible resilience was a heartbreaking childhood that very few people knew about. Ryan Friedlinghaus was born on April 22, 1975 in Southern California, but he spent most of his early days chasing a dream of customizing cars. He started his first shop with a $5,000 loan and eventually built a reputation in the car community. Ryan's journey to TV was even more surprising. It all started in the early 2000s with Pimp My Ride. While other shops played it safe, Ryan focused on celebrity builds and outrageous designs. This led to massive exposure and eventually launched Inside West Coast Customs in 2011. The show represented Ryan and his team as they customized cars. But it wasn't just about the machines. It was about the people and the love behind each build. The show lasted 8 seasons, and it was a blend of hard work and heart that made every magic possible. Ryan invested every dollar he had into growing the business. But even after all that success, Ryan's journey wasn't smooth. In 2013, a client filed a lawsuit against the shop saying it had failed to keep up their work as they promised. The case made headlines, but eventually got settled. However, in 2017 they were faced with another problem. Longtime employees from West Coast Customs left due to creative disagreements. Ryan was blamed for being too strict, and fans were left in shock. Looking at the person that once seemed calm and kind was now facing trouble. But Ryan didn't stay down for long. He focused on healing and began the process of rebuilding himself. Ryan always wanted control over the process. He was more likely to build unique cars than argue over profit margins. Viewers loved that about him. Back then, West Coast Customs had fewer projects to deal with, so Ryan had time to focus on the quality of each build. However, over time things began to change. The team had to meet tight deadlines with more restorations filling the shop each day. So Ryan started to feel the pressure and even his body began to wear down. But through it all, Ryan had his wife, Megan. She's the reason Ryan's world kept moving. Both shared a common love for design and entrepreneurship. Ryan often recalls how thankful he is for her. He knows that behind every strong man is someone who believes in him. Together, they faced the hard days and kept the shop thriving. However, life doesn't always go as expected. In 2019, Ryan faced something far more serious. While riding his car in Los Angeles, he was involved in a devastating crash. The impact was severe. Ryan suffered serious chest and leg injuries, including multiple broken bones and internal damage. He was rushed to the hospital and underwent several surgeries. Recovery became his full-time focus. The man who once lit up every episode with hard work and creative builds now had to learn how to walk again without pain. His presence was a reminder that being the quiet one doesn't mean you're weak. Instead, it's a legacy of strength that still resonates in every car he ever built. But the next person faced something far more devastating. Kenny Fitzer. Kenny Fitzer was an interesting personality on the show, known for managing the entire process and making sure everything ran under the right budget. Kenny kept things organized with every project. He wasn't the loudest on the show, but he was reliable and kept things moving. Viewers loved that about him. While other members of the garage focused on building cars, Kenny handled the business side, interacting with customers and turning every deal into pure profit. The job wasn't easy, but Kenny refused to back down. He fought through the intense challenges and faced constant pressure of being on TV. With 1,000 things in his mind, he still prioritized working at West Coast Customs, and that's what made him truly special. But fans began to notice Kenny's behavior. He didn't laugh much and often looked tense. However, Kenny's time on the show reflected that not everyone needs the spotlight to feel important. Some people work even harder behind the scenes, and they are the ones responsible for the show's true success. Money mattered, of course, but even more than that, it was about growing the business while still maintaining viewers' trust on the show. And for a long time, he did just that. Kenny could handle any conversation and any challenge with ease. While the team was constantly distracted from work, Kenny was responsible to get them back on track. With his sharp sense of timing, the garage needed more of him. He organized everything, making the process a lot easier. But in 2016, everything changed. Kenny had been diagnosed with cancer, so he was forced to leave the show. Not because he wanted to, but because he had to. He eventually started medication and underwent numerous surgeries. His fans missed him. Many had followed his journey from the very beginning. But Kenny's journey evolved with time by choosing to stay quiet. So which West Coast member did you love the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and click the next video on screen now for another interesting story.